It's very important that we remember that's not what love is. It's not coveting and being selfish. Once again, that's going back to the idea of self-love and your own needs. And we'll talk about that in a different video if you guys want me to do that or not. And then the next lyric is, why do you only feel glad when she's saying your name? That that is very, like, when a girl says your name, especially if it's a girl that you're interested in, or you like, or you think is cute, or even if you love her, when they say your name, it's like just hearing their voice is so amazing. Or if they smile at you, it's like you can't help but smile back. And so this verse is saying, this lyric is saying, why do you only feel glad? Like, it's all these questions going through this, the mind. And so, gotta take a breather, talking so much. All right, and then it's talking about why you only feel glad. And I think that's an important thing for us to learn as well and to improve on, is that we not only be glad when they're saying our name, okay? Kind of like we shouldn't only be praying when we're going through a hard time. We should be praying when we're on the top of things. When everything's going right, we should be praying to God and worship and thankfulness as well. And the same thing applies to here, that we should be happy even when they're not saying our name. So I think that's important, an important thing for us to learn. And then, oh, could she ever feel the same? Once again, the word feel. That's having an inward focus when it comes to love. Oh, could she ever feel the same? And just remember, feeling is a very small aspect of love, as I said before. And just don't get caught up in the feeling of love. Oh, could she ever feel the same? Which is actually what was going on right here in this chorus. And then I got all these questions in my mind. That's pretty self-explanatory. You got a lot of questions going on because, you're having this battle within yourself. We're like, I don't know. And that happens a lot when the spirit is fighting with the flesh. And like you're trying to love the person, but the flesh is wanting to covet the person. And once again, getting the aspect of what true love is done right. And then, so we go on to, they're driving me insane. That's very true. When you start, like, I want to say Galatians 5:18, correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe it's 17, talks about how the spirit lusteth against the flesh, and the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and they're both contrary one to the other, so that you cannot do the things that you would. And that is basically what's going on right here, is that, you're having this spiritual battle between the spirit and the flesh, and you don't know what to do. And that's what's going on. And then he goes back and he cries out to the Lord, oh Lord, I need you to show me the way. Once again, Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. And so just following Jesus and having a mindset of doing his will. That's what that lyric right there is saying, is that we need to go back to the focus on him. And then, because not knowing the destination has given me all of these questions. Knowing the destination is like, when we set out on a drive, we like to know where we're going. We like to know the destination. But sometimes in our life story, that's not how it works. We don't know where our life's going, but God does. But yet we still have all these questions when we don't know the destination. So that's what these lyrics are saying right here. All right, verse 2. It says, some people say a crush is just enough, but not in my book, because true love lasts for more than just a look. That is one of my most favorite lyrics. You see, a crush can go as easily as it comes. And that's why I don't think we should act upon crushes. If you have a crush towards someone, don't immediately jump into a relationship with them or strive to jump into a relationship with them, but take the time to learn more about them. To learn what truly is it that attracts you to them. Is it because you're just coveting them, or is it because you're actually feeling true love towards them? And how you know that, once again, is it true love in 1 Corinthians 13:4. Love is patient, or love suffers long, is the King James Version. And I think that's very important for us to remember, is that we don't treat love as if it's a fleeting moment. That's what a crush is, but love is not a fleeting moment. Once again, true love God is love. Remember that whenever you're trying to figure out what true love is, just remember God is love. So if God is love, then God is everlasting, so therefore love is meant to be everlasting. Love is eternal. It's not a temporary thing. And when we treat it like it is, that's when we get into the wrong kinds of relationships that we shouldn't have been in the first place. And that's what I think happens when we do, once again, 2 Timothy 2:22, we apply to the youthful lust. And we're like, ooh, we covet that relationship. We want that. But that's not what true love is. Love is patient. And so we should just take the time, once again, to grow toward each other outside of a relationship. And then going on, it says, you got to give your all, or as easy as you rose, you will fall. Once again, God doesn't want just a piece of your heart. Neither would your life mate want just a piece of your heart. And that's why I think it's important for us to guard our hearts. Like the verse in Proverbs says, above all else, guard your heart. Why? Because so that when you meet that person and you are become married to that person on your wedding day, I think it would be amazing if you actually can give your entire heart to your loved one. I've recently been rereading a book on alternative romance to modern dating and how that works. And one of the illustrations is that what if on your wedding day all of the girls that your groom gave a piece of his heart to lined up on the other side of him than you were on? How would that make you feel? Like if you could see how many different people he had given his heart to, how many different girls he had a relationship to, and then you began to wonder how much of his heart is left for you. And then the same thing for yourself. How many relationships have you been? How much of your heart have you given away so that you don't have it all and completely to give to your spouse? But even more importantly, to give to God. Once again, going back to the idea of in our singleness, we're to be serving Him. We shouldn't be coveting what we don't have. And we should be striving to live for Him, not for ourselves and what we want. We should be striving, once again, to live for His higher ways than ours. The next lyric says, and you'll find yourself on your knees again, just asking God, what am I doing? So, once again, going back to the idea of always falling on your knees before God and just praying unceasingly. All right, now we're going to go to verse 3. I'm going to try and wrap this up before it reaches a 30-minute video. Right now I'm at 20 minutes, so I've been talking for a while. My mouth is a little dry. All right, then this is like one of the most important. This is in the song where this is when it all slows down. So it says, love is all about faith and not fear. That's very important. Once again, going back to 1 John 4:18. And then it's when you can't see Him, but you know He's always there. That's talking about the faith aspect of love, in the sense that faith in Hebrews 11:1 is stated to be the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And then 2 Corinthians 5:7 says, for we walk by faith, not by sight. So faith is what you don't see. Faith is not about what you do see. Faith is, once again, right here. It's when you can't see Him, but you know He's always there. And then we go on to the next lyric, where it's, if she's the one, your love will be as the love of the only begotten Son. And so I'm going to keep reading on these lyrics because the last few lyrics all seem to go together. Even to the point of sacrifice, you'll give each other your lives. So that is talking about the main aspect of love that I mentioned at the beginning of the video when we were talking about the whole feeling aspect of love. Sacrifice is the main aspect of love. Romans 5:8 is the greatest example of what love is. Romans 5:8 says, for God commendeth His love toward us, that even while we were yet sinners, Christ died. That's love, okay? Christ didn't die because we loved Him. Christ didn't die because we wanted Him to. Christ died because He loved us. And that's how we should live towards others. And that's how we should live in relationships. We don't love someone because they love us. And we don't try to love someone to make them love us. That's not what love is. Love is unconditional. Love has no conditions. Love is not like, well, if you do this for me, then I'll love you. No, you love them merely because you love them. That's the way it works. And that's what marriage is meant to be. It's about commitment. It's about sacrifice. But people don't like sacrifice. They don't like to give of themselves. Once again, that is something that we could talk about and how psychology promotes that, but we won't unless, of course, you guys comment in the comments section saying that you want me to make a video on my radical views of psychology so that you can better understand why I have these views. And once again, I don't just have these views because they're my personal opinion. If I have an idea or a view, then I want to study the scriptures and make sure that that is scriptural, my views, so that it's not just my opinion, because in the end, my opinion should matter nothing to you, because my opinion does not decide whether you go to heaven or hell. Only God's opinion should matter to you in the long run. And then the last few lyrics say, now you finally understand, or you'll never have to ask again. And it goes back to the chorus. So basically, this is the end of his story. He's married,